So this is the key. We want to see the truth. Put the truth first at all times. Then we can speculate when we got nothing better to do. It's as simple as that. So, again, two things. We are one family, believe it or not. And we have to behave in that fashion as one family. We could have disputes, but we always have to remember who our Father is, what his name is, and what are the instructions that he gave to us. As you know, you live in your own house. You're not responsible for the neighbor's activity. You don't know what they're doing in their house. You don't know what they eat for breakfast or what they eat for dinner. It's none of your business, right? You don't know how they do their cleaning, when they do their lunch, none of your business. Every house has its own domain, has its own style, its own pattern. We have to get to know ours first before we move into somebody else's and start to dictate or want to criticize them. It's very important that we be confident about whom we are and whose we are, first and foremost, before we try to get into another arena. Because if you try to do that, it causes confusion. It makes you look bad. And guess what? You're not going to accept your defeat. Naturally, you're going to try to put the blame on somebody else when you're the one responsible for your issues. So we have to take these things as they are, as they appear. We know what the problem is. The problem stemmed from our disobedience. It put us in a position, what I like to call a deficit, spiritual deficit position, because we didn't do exactly what our Father said to do. And in case you're wondering, while I'm on it, let us go to the book of Deuteronomy, and let me show you what I'm talking about, just to put everything in perspective, because I could go on. Deuteronomy chapter 4, and we'll read from verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it." Now, this is Moses speaking to our Israelite forefathers. And he's telling them what transpired and what is expected of them now. All right, verse 6. He says, "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." My question to you is, have you kept these laws, statutes, and commandments? Again, it's rhetorical. "For what nation," verse 7, "for what nation is there so great, who has God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for?" In other words, there is nobody as great as us. Why? Because we have the creator of heaven and earth as our Father. Okay? Verse 8. "And what nation is there so great, that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you today?" Moses is making it clear. There is no comparison when it comes to the Israelite nation. Zero. Nada. Nine. Verse 9. "Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things that which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them to whom? Thy sons and thy sons' sons." Teach them. So not only are we supposed to be obedient, we are supposed to be the teachers of this doctrine. First to our own family, and then to strangers who may be called to serve the God of Israel. It's very significant. This is very powerful indeed. This sets the tone for our behavioral pattern. Verse 10 says, "Especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And you can go on and read the rest at your convenience. But this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about obedience, when I'm talking about our behavioral pattern, when I'm talking about our service to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.